Fake questions, real answers. There's stuff I want to talk about and don't want to wait for you to ask me. Dear Colin, what do you say to those people mocking you for flip-flopping on Mac Jones? Well, what I say is it is an absolute privilege as a broadcaster to be recognized, imitated, and occasionally jabbed in the ribs. It means in a fragmented market, you're being consumed. Nobody's talking about the weekend hosts on networks or the overnight hosts. I heard Russell Wilson say this once. Pressure is a privilege. It means you're playing in big games that matter. I think being criticized as a broadcaster is a privilege. It means you're consuming my work. Listen, I talk 3 hours a day. Shocker, I whiff a lot. I have strong opinions. Sometimes I'm wrong. I never take it personally. Most of the people, in fact, probably 9 out of 10 that criticize me, also follow me on social media. Dear Colin, you've been very critical of Tua. What do you have to say now? Well, what I have to say is there are 3 quarterbacks in this league right now, and they all have something in common. Mac Jones, Tua, and Teddy Bridgewater. Now, in all 3 cases, we realize their ceiling is lower. But yet Mac Jones' last 5 games, 116 quarterback rating. 5-0. Tua, last 5 games, 97 passer rating, 4 games over 100. He's won 4 of 5. And Teddy Bridgewater, 63% completion percentage, 3 games above 100 passer rating. So what do these 3 have in common besides a low ceiling? Besides the fact that none of the 3 are hyper-athletic. They also have this in common. They have great defensive coaches. Vic Fangio, Brian Flores, and Bill Belichick. You're not going to win Super Bowls this way. You can, though, win a lot of games as an accurate quarterback that makes few mistakes with a great defensive head coach. Tua is a left-handed Mac. Bridgewater's an older Mac Jones. I know it's boring. I know it's not fascinating. It's like the cardboard box industry, which is on fire, because now everything's delivered through Amazon. It's like the hottest industry in America, and it's boring. It's the cardboard box. But in this league, lower ceiling quarterbacks who don't turn it over win regularly. 3 examples this year. When they have a great defensive head coach. Dear Colin, is there a lesson to be gleaned? Oh, I love that word. Thanks for asking. Is there a lesson to be gleaned from Patrick Mahomes' struggles this year? Yes, we should listen to scouts. I remember when Cam Newton came out, and there was a man named Nolan Nawrocki. He had a scouting report of Cam. And I'm going to read you a couple of the things it said. Has an enormous ego with a sense of entitlement. Will at times struggle to win a locker room. Lacks accountability, focus. Isn't punctual. Has issues with authority. Not always dependable. Looking back on that, fairly accurate. The scouts know what they're doing. And what they said about Patrick Mahomes was remarkably high ceiling, but harder to coach, tends to be an ad-libber, doesn't really have a repeatable passing motion. It changes constantly. And so what you're seeing with Patrick Mahomes is what the scouts said. He has an incredibly high ceiling, but is not always consistent. Chris Burke of Sports Illustrated said, quote, Mahomes' mechanics can be scattershot, which is why he'll thread a needle on one play and then fire an easy pass into the third row the next. Mel Kiper, quote, Mahomes has a high ceiling, but he's going to have to learn how NFL offenses are run. And the Chiefs are going to have to rebuild his mechanics from the ground up. Folks, scouts know what they're doing. Trust them. Dear Colin, Zion Williamson has now missed more games than he's played, 86 to 85. Do you think he was overhyped? No, I actually don't. I think all of us, all of you, got it right. I said before he got drafted, I thought he was a marketing machine. He had an incredibly unique game, and as Biggs have become increasingly European, he's a physical force that will dominate quickly. That is exactly what happened. He literally broke Wilt Chamberlain's records. But you also knew, and I also said, I worry about his torque, gaining weight. Remember, the criticism was he doesn't shoot jumpers. It never bothered me. I said, most college kids are not great shooters. They're going to class. Limitations on practice time and gym time. Zion is exactly what everybody thought, which is, when healthy, he's a game wrecker, but he'll struggle with weight and health. I would say the scouting report was unstoppable, yet potentially unstable. I think all of us, you, me, scouts, executives, analysts, were completely accurate with Zion Williamson. He's gone from wilt to wilting, but we all saw it coming. Dear Colin, what do you make about the strong Chip Kelly to Oregon rumors? Listen, there's an old saying, you can never go home again. Chip Kelly is an outlier. He's not a good recruiter and doesn't like it, but yet won 92% of his conference games at Oregon and 87% of his games overall. He's the only exception I can think of in college football in the last 20, 30 years who was a dominating coach and didn't like recruiting. How'd it work? Because he caught the sport flat-footed. You remember the pace of play. Nick Saban said it's bad for the sport. Officials couldn't keep up. Well, the sport now has caught up. And what Chip is a smarter than average coach who has a disdain for recruiting. I follow it closely. UCLA somewhere between 4th, 5th, or 6th best recruiting class in the Pac-12 annually. And that's an LA-based school. I like Chip. I think he's smarter than average. But you can't go home again. That was lightning in a bottle. If I was Oregon, I would hire California head coach Justin Wilcox. Wilcox family has great history in the state of Oregon. Dear Colin, did you hear about that Oklahoma senator who wants to rename a 3-inch stretch of desolate highway the Lincoln Riley Highway to get back at him for ditching Oklahoma? Yes, I heard, and it's embarrassing. Let's stay out of the politics for a second and ask yourself this. The day before Lincoln Riley left, if you're a Sooner fan, had I said to you, Brent Venables is a better coach than Lincoln Riley, what would you have said to that? Lincoln Riley had won National Coach of the Year, had been up for the Cowboys job, was a multiple winner of Big 12 Coach of the Year. If I would have said the day before Lincoln Riley left, yeah, the defensive coordinator in an increasingly offensive game is a better coach than Lincoln Riley, you would have rolled your eyes. It would have been a hot take and a ridiculous opinion. Lincoln Riley is a better coach than Brent Venables. If Brent Venables struggles, and the SEC, let's face it, Oklahoma in 2 years is going to be battling for third because Bama and Georgia are ruling the conference, and it's only getting better. Arkansas is better. Texas A&M's a machine now in recruiting. Kentucky, a basketball school's better. And Brian Kelly, better than Ed Orgeron's now at LSU. So if Venables doesn't work in 4 years, because Oklahoma's not going to be terribly patient, this is a top 5-6 program in America, and Lincoln Riley does really well at USC, but misses Oklahoma and Texas, and they offer him the job in Oklahoma, are you not going to put your arms around him? I understand fans being juvenile and emotional, but senators, this is why people have lost respect, admiration, and trust in politicians. This is something Johnny from Enid, Oklahoma talks about at a saloon, not something an Oklahoma senator enacts. Embarrassing.